What happens if you don't sleep? Okay. Now, why do I get so interested in sleep? Why do I take sleep so seriously? Is because of one encounter that I have in my journey in wellness. I encountered one client. Okay, he was hospitalized for stroke. So I went to visit him, and he told me that it was his third stroke. Third stroke. Okay. And he recounted his journey in health. Okay. And he said that he has had 2 heart attacks and 2 different cancers. So he had survived cancer twice with a relapse, and he had stroke in between. And this was his third stroke, hemorrhagic stroke. So he had to actually operate on his skull, okay, to do a surgery, and then after that sew back. So when I saw him, it was a trachea, and then the skull was actually being sewn together. And he was very proud of it. He said that I had my surgery, and the next day I get on the floor and I start to get on the ground and I walk. So it was how fast he was actually bragging, about how fast he actually recovered, so to say, so to speak. Now, and he said that one thing he said, he did not believe in sleeping. So he's actually a businessman in logistics. So therefore, a lot of time zone issues and all that. And he told me that sleeping is a waste of time. There is no time to sleep. And he said there will come a time where he will sleep forever. So why bother spending his time sleeping now? That's what he told me. Okay. And how much he slept? He only catch a few hours, 1, 2 hours, or short 20, 40 minutes of sleep when he feels tired, and when he feels that he need to take a nap, he take a short nap. So he does not take long hours of sleep like many of us did. Okay. And my take-home message after I visited him, my take-home message was, my gosh, this is going to happen to you if you don't sleep. Okay. Heart attacks, cancers, strokes, multiple of them. But his will to live, to survive is so strong that he survived through all. When you look at him, it's like he's perfectly normal. So he's able to recover. So he has a very, very strong will to live. Okay? Yeah. All right, so what are we covering today? First part, we are going to talk about the science of sleep to understand a little bit more the biology. And then after that, I will talk about the Healy programs. Many people will ask me, there are so many so many sleep programs. Are they all the same? Yeah, are they all the same? Okay. And there are also those who tell me that I've used the sleep programs, but it does not work for me. Okay. So what do I do now? You see, is it that the Healy is not effective or something else? So today we are going to discover about that. All right. Then we are also going to talk about the MAGHEALY programs that are related to sleep. Okay, so we're going to cover everything. We're going to leave no stones unturned and dig out everything about sleep. And there are also factors about sleep that you may not have heard about, and it may be the very thing that is bothering you. So today you're going to find out as well. So if you look at babies, young small babies after they are born in their first year, they spend a lot of time sleeping. So a newborn will only wake up to suckle. Okay, that means to drink milk, okay, or they cry when they need to change nappy and do their business and all that. Then the rest of the time, they actually sleep, okay? Now, why is that so? Why do they spend so much time sleeping? So what happens during sleep? Now, Many things happen during sleep. Although it looks like we are doing nothing, but a lot of activity happens during sleep because these are activities that cannot take place when our mind and body is active. Okay, so when you have so many programs on, you can't do that. So what happens is the very first and important thing about sleep is when our body slows down, when a lot of activity are at its basal, that means minimum activity, that is the time, most importantly, for the brain to actually do a lot of spring cleaning. Okay, spring cleaning, like what? The brain, for example, your memory, your daytime working memory is when you sleep, that it will be transferred from the hippocampus, okay, to the prefrontal cortex, which is the CEO of the brain, okay, for long-term memory. So if you are a student, okay, and or if you are taking an exam, you're trying to memorize things, okay, or if you find yourself forgetting recent things, but you can forget things that happened long, long ago, but the recent things you cannot remember, it means that your hippocampus, the temporary storage, is already full. So the new information will not come in unless your brain has time to actually move it to the prefrontal cortex. Okay, so that's what happens, yeah, from short-term to long-term memory, and then it will rearrange a lot of things in there to create space for new things to come in. It organizes your whole brain activity. Okay, then the development of the brain and also regeneration. Okay, so without sleep, we age, our body age because there's no time to actually regenerate the body. All right. Okay, so first thing is, when do we sleep? Why do we feel like sleeping? Okay, and why is it that in the morning, even if you don't set your alarm clock, okay, at a certain time, you'll find that, hey, you can't sleep anymore, you just have to get up. Okay, so the body has this sleep-wake cycle. Okay, sleep-wake cycle. Huh? Okay, so there is a chemical, and this chemical is known as adenosine. What's adenosine? You have ATP, which is cellular energy, adenosine triphosphate. You actually have adenosine in your DNA, all right? And then, so this chemical molecule here, based on the level of the chemical in the body, it creates the sleep drive. Sleep drive is what? Is that signal. It's actually a signal or the urge that make you like that. Okay, suddenly you find yourself falling asleep, right? That's called the sleep drive. Okay, so it is controlled by adenosine. Okay, so let's say we start our day from 7 in the morning. So this adenosine will increase through the day, all right, and it will reach its highest level roughly at 11 p.m. at night. So somewhere along 9 p.m., okay, between 9 to 11 p.m., okay, as the level goes up, your sleep drive, your urge to sleep will actually increase. Okay, so at 9 p.m., you can actually start to nod off to sleep already. So by 11, that's the strongest where you actually start to fall asleep. So that's the urge. So when you fall asleep involuntarily, the body is signaling to you to go and sleep. Now, watch what happens after 11 o'clock. After the most intense sleep drive, right? The level of adenosine suddenly plunge very quickly until the next morning, 7 a.m., and you have no more desire to sleep. So meaning that once you notice that, I'm sure you have noticed that. Some of you will think that, okay, when you want to doze off, if you just hang on, right? You just hang on, don't go and sleep. You'll find that after a certain hour, you will be wide awake. Okay, the urge is over. The urge is over. True. So this urge between 9 to 11 will be over after 11 p.m. So if you hold it, hang on, and don't sleep, after that, there is no more urge to sleep. No more urge to sleep. Okay? Yeah. So the cycle goes on like this. The cycle goes on every day. If your timing, your body clock is synchronized to that of your local time, this is roughly what you will see. All right. So it will drop and then it will start to increase again after 7 until highest around 11, somewhere there, but vary from person to person. And then after that, it's going to drop again. So that's the sleep drive. Okay. Yeah. Then you have the urge to wake up. We call that the wake drive. Okay, wake drive, you look at the dotted line here, the wake drive. Okay, now, so the wake drive is lowest when the sleep drive is highest. So they are opposite to each other. All right. And then after that, what happens is we start from 11 p.m. After 11 p.m., midnight, and then the sleep drive will actually increase, somewhere between 7 to 9 or 10, you have the strongest urge to wake up. Meaning that even if you try to just lie down on bed, you can't fall back asleep. You can't. Okay, you just have to get up. So that is the wake drive. Okay, so these two are opposite to each other. Okay, so once you miss, you see, once the sleep urge to starts to drop, the wake drive goes up already. So therefore, it's harder to fall asleep during that period of time. Okay, now melatonin, we call it the sleep hormone, right? So when is the secretion of the melatonin? Because the melatonin is the one that adjusts our circadian clock. Okay, so it starts every day, it starts its secretion somewhere after 6 p.m. That means after sunset, secretion of melatonin actually begin. Okay, to signal the evening. All right, to signal that night has actually started. So this is the body clock, and then it will increase very rapidly after somewhere around 9 p.m. It suddenly melatonin production and release will suddenly go up, highest somewhere around 3 a.m. So if you look at the circadian rhythm, right? So somewhere around 9, melatonin secretion starts. Your deepest sleep is usually somewhere around 2 o'clock, which coincide with the highest level of melatonin. Okay, and then after it reaches the peak, it starts to drop. Okay, all the way towards the morning. So by the time around 7 the next morning, your local time, melatonin is low, indicating that it's daylight, and therefore you have the urge to wake up will then take over. Okay, so every day this will be happening if your body clock is synchronized to that of your local time. Okay, so we start with bioenergetic vitalization, pineal gland. So pineal gland is the one that produces the melatonin, all right, the sleep hormone. So this chart here, okay, shows you the interplay between the sleep drive, this green color sleep drive, the melatonin level, okay, to indicate day night, and then the timing, okay, where the person usually fall asleep. Okay, so I do not want to repeat. You can take a screenshot and then go and watch it later. So basically, all the forces are intertwined together, coordinated in a daily rhythm. Okay, in a daily rhythm called the circadian rhythm to determine, to tell our body when to wake up and when to sleep. Okay, now when you use the pineal gland, if you're first time using it, I recommend that you use it on the weekend when you don't have to get up to work. Because what happens to me is the very first time that I use it, when did I use it? I basically just, just use the coil and I use the Healy. I turn on the pineal gland. I just wear it and then I just lie down and just fall asleep from there. Okay. So what happened was the next day, I actually woke up late. I actually overslept. All right. I overslept. So, yeah. So, another friend, after I shared my experience, another friend also went to use pineal gland and she also overslept by 2 hours. Yeah, okay. So that's why I'm telling you, if this is your first time using pineal gland, choose a day that you do not have to get up early. All right. Okay. So when can you actually start using the pineal gland? Anytime after sunset, you can actually use the pineal gland to coordinate secretion. All right. To coordinate the secretion of melatonin. Okay, now in order to make melatonin, you need to have certain nutrients. All right, you need to have certain nutrients. Yeah. So this is what happens. Digital nutrition 4. Okay, if you scan, you analyze resonance analysis, and you get sleep. What is inside sleep? The composition of sleep in digital nutrition is that you will get tryptophan. Okay, so tryptophan is an amino acid. So the amino acid actually produce serotonin, another chemical. So serotonin is the base molecule to then make the melatonin molecule. So these are all chemicals that actually came from proteins, yeah, amino acids. And then in sleep program, there is glycine as well. Glycine is another amino acid, all right, and it is to stimulate the release. So tryptophan is to make the melatonin. So glycine here is to release the serotonin so that you can make the melatonin. And glycine also help to lower the body temperature during sleep. All right. So during sleep, at the certain parts of the sleep cycle, all right, your temperature actually lowers so that you can go into deep sleep. And then it also has glutamine. Glutamine is another amino acid, yeah, which is to produce GABA. GABA, which is a neurotransmitter, and this neurotransmitter actually calms your nerve, reduce your anxiety so that your whole body can relax, and it allows you to slide more easily into deep, relaxing sleep. All right. And then the fourth um, component in the sleep digital nutrition is vitamin B3. Vitamin B3 is needed to make prostaglandins. Prostaglandins is actually produced by the testes, okay, and the prostate glands, okay, is part of a component in the semen. Okay, so prostaglandin is actually needed to make, is involved in the adenosine pathway, okay, the chemical that's responsible for your sleep drive. Okay, so it also promote lipid metabolism. This is to repair skin, to make the steroid hormones, etc. And also to increase non-REM sleep. Non-REM sleep is actually deep sleep. Okay, so these are the 4 components in sleep. Okay, now once you have the melatonin, yeah, so the melatonin is needed here, produced here by the pineal gland. So the outer part of the brain, that's the cortex, that's the inner part of the brain here. This tiny little structure, P shape, is the pineal gland that produces the melatonin. And then you see the red spot here. This red spot here is called the SCN, suprachiasmatic nucleus. Doesn't matter what it is. Basically, is a little group of a small group of cells here that actually get the daylight and the night signal from the eyes. So the signal from the eyes, because when you open your eyes, light will go in, right? So if it's at night, when you open your eyes, less light goes in, right? Okay, so what happens is light signals go in through the eyes, and the signal is sent to the red dot over here. And the cells over here will then act as the pacemaker for the circadian rhythm, the daily clock, our daily rhythm. So it's actually determined by the red spot over here. So now what happened is, if it's daylight, the SCN, okay, will tell this superior cervical ganglion, which is at the base of your neck here, and then this SCG here will then send the information to the pineal gland and says stop producing melatonin. Okay, now if it's dark at night when the intensity lowers, so the signal goes through the eye, goes to the red dot, and then it goes to the green dot, and then the green dot will send it to the yellow dot, which is the pineal gland, to say, okay, you can start releasing the melatonin. Okay, so that's how the regulation comes. That's why we have to be synchronized to the natural environment. Otherwise, your sleep will go haywire. Okay, all right, so that's how it is. Now, if you get chakra, okay, if you get crown chakra, it will be the upper part of the body here, upper part of the brain. And then third eye is right deep inside, which is where the pineal gland and the SCN here is located. And if you have the throat chakra, it will be somewhere around here. Okay, so if you get third eye or throat in your top 5 when you do your all Healy, okay, then this could be the region where the chakras are blocked, the energy is not moving, and therefore the tissues around here are not working optimally. Yeah, so you may not get the sleep thing, you know, so it can actually present itself as a chakra to you. Okay, yeah, so if you have crown, third eye, and throat, that means it's this whole region here, okay, which is preventing you from getting your melatonin and etc. Okay, all right. Now, so because we are getting the signals from outside through our eyes, so that means the light intensity indoor and outdoor should be matching. Okay, all right. Okay, when you're outside, it's okay because outside you're following the natural light. But when you are indoor, you are exposed to artificial light. Okay, now so this may be happening. So in daytime, your indoor light is very bright, but if nighttime, your indoor light is also very bright, what happens is the eye and the brain cannot distinguish, they cannot differentiate artificial and natural light. So if you have bright light, okay, in the living room, and then you're watching TV and all that, to the eye, that's the sun, okay, if the intensity is very, very bright. So therefore, what we need to do is that our indoor lighting should match the outdoor lighting. So let's say sun has set, so the indoor lighting should be more of warm lights, and then in the day, your daylight, indoor artificial light, you can use the cool light, the white light. Okay, so artificial light, there are different wattage, so you can actually batch. Okay, if you have sleep issue, that's what I'm referring to. But if you don't have sleep issue, no matter what kind of light you use, then it's fine. Now, what happened to me, okay, how I find out about lighting affecting sleep was my personal experience. Okay, I usually do not have sleep issues, but there was a period of time where I couldn't sleep. And the funny thing is, I lie down and I talk to my body. Okay, I said, can you tell me why I cannot sleep? You know, this thing just happened recently, and I have no idea why I cannot sleep. You see, so I just asked my body. So that time we don't have Healy and all that, you can't even check, you cannot even detect. So I lie down there, I couldn't sleep, and I asked my body, can you just tell me why I can't sleep? And you know what happened? 2 words just pop up in my mind. So your light. So really, I really got a reply, and it says your light. Then I was like, my light. So I keep thinking, what about my light? Then I realized that I have actually switched my living room light from the normal tube lights into LED. So I like my home to be very, very bright. So I switch it to LED lights. And you know that whole panel have like nearly 60 to 100 little LED lights. So my house is super, super bright. And I realized that how true, because ever since I installed the LED lights, I started having insomnia. I couldn't sleep. Okay. So immediately, the very next day, I go and buy a floor lamp and I change it to warm lights. So after 6 o'clock, I turn on the warm lights. I no longer use the LED lights. And what happened was my sleep resumed back to normal. Amazing. So that really taught me something new about light, indoor light actually affecting your whole system, because the eye, the brain, all the tissues, they detect light intensity. So whether it's the sun or LED lights, they can't tell the difference. Okay? Yeah. All right. So if you have a difficulty sleeping, you may want to consider all this. Are there any, corridor lights or, outside lights, maybe the street lights that is shining through the window into your room? Okay, so at night, don't switch off all the lights and then look at your mobile phone, because this light is equally bright and therefore it acts as a sun, okay, to the eyes. So it thinks that it's daylight. Okay, so night lights. So if you have all these night lights that are on, so you may try to then switch it off and see whether it helped to improve your sleep. Okay, so that's how you can eliminate some of the issues. So you can wear the night shades, okay, to cover your eyes. So the ideal best is total darkness. Okay, total darkness. Okay. All right. Now here, let's see, yeah. Okay, now other things that may come up, and this I have been asked before. Okay, I've been asked before, why do male get mature women and then women get prostate? Okay, yeah, so this has been asked before. Now, the hormone progesterone in mature women, right? Mature women is basically about the male-female hormone, okay, that are imbalanced. So it may have progesterone, and progesterone is actually needed to make GABA. Okay, GABA, mentioned just now, is to help your body to relax, lower your anxiety, calms you down so that you can slide into deep sleep more readily. Okay, so mature women here is for that. Now, potency, this is for male sexuality, prostate, vitality, these three. Okay, now the prostate actually produces the chemical prostaglandins I mentioned just now. This is actually for adenosine, okay, for your sleep drive. Okay, so if female, you're getting prostate, potency, all this, it could be actually be related to sleep. Okay, so these two have actually the same, more or less the same functions. Okay, sleep cycle. Now, a typical 8 hours sleep has about 5 cycles where you go from being awake, then you slide to REM sleep. REM is rapid eye movement, okay, REM. Then NREM is non-REM, okay, non-rapid eye movement sleep. So light sleep, and then you go into deep sleep, and then after that you come up to slightly conscious again, and then you slide down again. Okay, so one U shape like this is called one sleep cycle. Okay, sleep phase, sorry, sleep phase, 1, 2, 3. So there are 5 stages like this. Typically, it's good for you to get 5 of these stages over 8 hours at night. Okay, so this is the ideal kind of sleep that we should get. So what happened on each stage here. Okay, so from being conscious as you slide into non-REM stage 1 and stage 2, this is where you are going through light sleep. Okay, this is light sleep. Okay, so what happens during the light sleep? Your breathing, heart rate, muscle movement, okay, starts to slow down. So you don't move and you don't twitch that much. Then after that is your brain activity starts to slow down. This is when your body temperature will start to slow down. Okay, yeah. And what kind of wavelength is being released during this stage is actually your theta wave. Theta wave. Then after that, you go into deep sleep. Okay. During deep sleep, your heart rate will go even lower. Breathing also will slow down. This is your basal. This is the lowest. Okay. You're not easily awakened. That's why we call it deep sleep. Okay. So during this period of time, what is important is, I mentioned just now, that your short-term memory, which is in the hippocampus, the information is actually transferred to your frontal cortex, where you have the long-term memory. During this period of time, the lymphatic system, which can be also known as the lymphatic system of the brain, will actually do a lot of cleansing work. Clean up your whole system so that toxins can be removed. Okay, yeah. So if you don't remove these toxins, the next day you will feel the effect. Okay, you'll find that your brain is groggy, okay, or foggy, brain fog. That's because of toxins that are accumulating in your brain that is not drained away at night. Okay, so you wake up feeling a bit tired still. Okay, and you can see from the look, and then you look haggard. You actually look haggard. Yeah. Okay. Then this is when delta waves in the brain are active. Okay. Then, okay, the REM sleep. What happens during REM sleep is dreams, lucid dreams. Okay, so this one is also known as dreamy sleep or dream sleep. Okay, so this is the time when you dream. During the non-REM stage, you don't dream. Okay, yeah, so this is where you are nearly waking up. You're almost conscious. You know something, what is going on, aware of your surroundings. So yeah, at night you'll find that, okay, I can hear the rain and all that. So you're slightly aware of your surrounding. You're aware of footsteps and all that. So your heart rate, breathing, your brain activity slowly starts to increase. But during this period of time, your limbs are temporarily paralyzed. Okay. Why? So that when you are dreaming, sometimes you may be fighting with a monster. So yeah, so you find that people will scream and turn their heads, but their bodies are not moving. Okay, so this is to prevent you from hurting yourself, okay, during the dream period. Yeah. Okay, and also more of the memory being processed and stored as well. Now, the function of dream is not fully understood yet. Okay, but there is an understanding that those who went through trauma, they find that after dreams, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, they actually have recurring dreams, right? Recurring dream, and all that. It's the same dream over and over. They find that healing takes place. Okay, healing takes place after the dreams. So they find that they actually feel better. Okay, yeah, after a period of dreams. Okay, now the other belief is creativity takes place during the REM sleep. There are scientists, songwriters, okay, creators. They find that they get ideas. Okay, somebody wrote the entire song in the sleep. Okay, so he actually scribble, 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 and then the next morning, okay, he looked at the thing and all that, he turned that into a song. Okay, and that became like a bestseller, you know. Yeah, so REM sleep is actually needed for creativity, for healing, post-trauma healing and all that. Yeah. Okay, but not everything is fully understood yet. Okay, so this part about REM sleep is still being researched. Okay, very serious sleep research being done. Okay, yeah. So these programs here under the sleep, right? Healy sleep, you will find this four. Sleep system is like digestive system, okay? Like your cardiovascular system, respiratory system. So sleep system here is programs for frequencies for all the tissues, organs that's related to sleep. Okay, so it could be your brain, your pineal glands, etc., etc. Okay, sleep system. Okay, bed rest, balanced sleep. You will find a lot of this kind of waves in this kind of programs here. Basically, bed rest and the balanced sleep here is to let you go through the 5 cycles that you see there. So it's to slowly induce you to match your 8 hours of sleep into the 5 cycles. Okay, and then that's one, and then to go into deep sleep and then to come out and all that. So all these things have to be balanced, have to be properly coordinated. So over time, you'll find yourself having better and better sleep. Fine flow is for capillaries, okay? Capillary flow and exchange for electrolytes exchange, okay, to the cells. Okay, now this is something interesting that I found from reading this book by Matthew Walker, Why We Sleep, and they saw this transition happening to uh, fetus. Okay, so fetus show this, fetus actually show this. Yeah, that from week 23, right? The fetus actually spend half 12 hours sleeping, and then the others 12 hours, half in non-REM and the other half in REM sleep. But when it reaches week 39 and week 40, that means trimester 3, this is near to birth. This is the last 2 weeks of birth. So during the last 2 weeks of birth, they saw the switch. You know, at week 39, it switches to 12 hours deep sleep, non-REM, 12 hours of the day. The fetus was actually in this state. And then in week 40, it switches to REM sleep, 12 hours. Sleeping all the time, hardly awake the last 2 weeks before birth. Okay, so this has to do very much with the development of the brain. Okay, with a lot of functions that's happening that is related to the deep sleep function and then the creativity function. So which means that babies that are premature, so if they are born before this switch takes place, and then after that, after you're born, you are exposed to all the artificial light and all that, so they may not be properly developed in certain areas. Okay, now in autistic children, this is what they find. Autistic children, when they measure the sleep, okay, the sleep, they find that the REM sleep, the duration in REM sleep actually dropped by 30 to 50%. Okay, autistic children. Okay, then there's also transition at certain times of the age. At 5 years old, okay, at 5 years old, a lot of REM sleep, more non-REM deep sleep than the REM sleep. 13 years old is puberty. During the puberty stage, it also switch to spend most of the sleep hours in the non-REM sleep. Okay, so this is to show that the for us, all right, puberty onwards, the non-REM sleep here is actually quite important. So how can you actually complement this? All right. Okay. In the Mind Wave program, recreation, there's a recreation. Okay. So recreation will give you the wavelength that is needed for non-REM. Okay. And then I think this is the delta. This is the delta wave, and creativity is the theta waves that will give you your REM. Okay, your REM sleep. So you can use these two programs here to actually, maybe you can try using it at night. Okay, and that will actually help in the quality of your non-REM and REM sleep. Okay, now if you don't have this program, doesn't matter, there are others as well. Okay, under local stimulation, sleep in local stimulation over here. If you have used it, this is 0.5 hertz. So 0.5 hertz is delta. Okay, it's actually delta waves, and delta waves is needed for your dreamless, deep, non-REM sleep. Okay, yeah. So I mentioned earlier that during sleep, regeneration takes place. All right. So this is placed under local stimulation. Local stimulation is for pain. If you look at spine, joint, all this, right? So sleep here is to put you into sleep so that the body can do healing and regeneration as well. Okay. All right. Yeah. So reduce your stress hormone, the cortisol, and then helps you to sleep, and during sleep to actually promote healing and regeneration. So it's anti-aging, especially good if you have all this chronic pain in the body. Okay, now when is the best time to sleep? Okay, so people say, okay, yeah, I need to sleep. I can sleep anytime I want. I can sleep in the day, I can sleep in the night. So those who work in the night shift, you sleep in the day. Is that the best time to sleep? Okay, yeah. So when is the best time to sleep? It is between 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. Does not mean that you sleep throughout this period. That means this is the window. If your 8 hours sleep fall within this window, that is ideal. Okay, that's the best optimal sleep time. Okay, now adults usually, on average, we sleep between 11 p.m. to 7 p.m. or 10 p.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, as long as you have 8 hours of sleep during this window. So this is a typical adult. Okay, yeah. Now for teenagers, if you have teenagers at home, you will find that they say that it's too early to sleep. Correct or not? When you ask them when you want to go to bed, right, as adults, then you go to your children's and then you tell them go to bed. They say it's too early, I'm not sleepy. It's true. It's actually true. According to the book, it's actually true. Their sleep drive is around 12 to 1 a.m. Okay, so their wake drive is around 9, 10, that kind. So for teenagers, okay, this is their duration because of their clock. Okay, but for seniors, your 8 hours actually starts earlier. Okay, so for seniors it's around 9 p.m. 8 p.m. 9 p.m. you can actually start to have your sleep drive and fall asleep. So for seniors, it is between 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Okay, that's why you find that seniors, they tend to wake up very early. Some will wake up at 4 o'clock, some says I wake up at 3 o'clock because of the wake drive. Okay, they just, even if they don't set the alarm, they will still wake up. All right, okay, so this is the typical, when they do the research, they find that, okay, different age group, their sleep window is slightly different. Okay, it's natural. Okay, so the myth is that seniors don't sleep so much. They only need like 4 hours or like that instead of 8 hours. The research shows that it is not true. The research shows that everybody would need around 8 hours of sleep, which is needed to complete the 5 cycles that you saw just now. So everybody need about 8 hours. Now, why is it that seniors only, like they said, 4-5 hours? Now, that's because, you see, their sleep drive actually starts around 9 p.m. Okay, I have seniors who told me that they have dinner very early and they sleep at 8 p.m. Okay, and then they will wake up around 4 a.m. Okay, so that's their individual cycle. Okay, so you see, if the family is very active, if you are living with a multi-generation home, right? If your family is still active at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, then you stay awake, right? So by the time you go to sleep, it's around 12, and then your wake drive is 5 o'clock. So you are actually sleeping between 12 to 5 hours only. Okay, yeah, so you thought that you need less sleep, but actually it's not so. Okay, actually your sleep drive starts earlier. So therefore, if you have senior parents, if you're taking care of senior parents, okay, try not to stretch their night. So if you go out for outing and all that, so to the adults, it's like yours is 12, so you come back at 10, but for seniors, their body cannot take it. They just want to sleep already. So this is where you have to make adjustment, okay, for seniors, so that they can get enough sleep. Okay, so seniors, if you find that you are wide awake when you want to go to sleep, it's because your sleep drive is over. So what I suggest is you move your bedtime half an hour earlier. Okay, shift it so that you sleep earlier. Okay, yeah, because if you, like I mentioned, right, if you pass your sleep drive, the sleep drive actually drop, and therefore when you lie down there, you can't sleep because the sleep drive is over. So you have to observe your body. When is your sleep drive? So when actually you sit there at your TV and then you start to do this, that is actually your timing for your sleep drive. Your sleep drive actually started already. Okay, so adjust so that you go and sleep already. Okay, so don't hang on because your sleep drive will be over, and then after that you'll find that you can't sleep. Okay, so somebody asked, what age is considered senior? There is no fixed age. Okay, they actually don't put a fixed age, roughly around 60. Okay, because you have to follow your body. All right, if you are in your 50s and you find that you start to nod off at 9, that means your sleep drive is already 9 o'clock. Okay or not? Yeah, so you follow your body. Okay, so you follow your body. So it's not necessarily a fixed age. Okay, it's not a fixed age. So when they say adult, they call it a typical adult. A senior is like a typical senior. All right, but individuals can vary. So you need to, if you have, let's say, insomnia, monitor yourself and try to find out when exactly is your sleep drive. Okay, so if you not off or watching news at 8 o'clock, that means your sleep drive has actually started at 8 o'clock. Okay or not? Yeah. So then you follow. When you have the sleep drive, quickly go and sleep. All right. If you wake up at 5, so be it. See whether you are able to adjust your sleep pattern that way. All right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, because everybody is different. So this readings here, the timing here is based on an average seniors. Okay. So question is, for how many hours do we need to use the sleep program? So which sleep program you need, you either go to the Blue app, analyze the sleep program to see the percentage, 60% or higher. Those are the programs that you need. If not, you will eliminate one by one, meaning that, let's say you use the sleep program, you start with sleep system. Okay, you can use it anytime after sunset. Okay, anytime after sunset, use the sleep program and watch your sleep pattern. Okay, then the next day you switch it to bed rest. Then watch your sleep pattern. Then the next day will be balanced sleep. Okay, and then the next day you will use fine flow. Okay, and then you see which one gives you the most optimal quality sleep. That is the one that your body needs. Okay, but it will change because as you use, you get adjusted in that area already. It could be some other area that requires adjustment. Okay, so use your 5 by 5 in order to determine what is the issue that is related to the sleep. All right, so if you do your 5 by 5 and then the Healy sleep program appear, that means that that is where you need to provide the solution. If chakra appear, that is where you need the solution. So that's why somebody use sleep program, they said not a single sleep program help. So, but your 5 by 5 shows that it's chakra, then you have to go and use chakra. Okay? Yeah. So you have different factors. Okay. Can I make up for lost sleep? Let's say if you don't sleep well at night, can you make up in the day or at any time when you feel sleepy, you can catch up? Yes and no. Okay? Yes and no. So, yes, if it happens the night before, between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., this is the timing where the heart meridian is active. So there are 2 hours window here. Is very good to catch your cat nap or your power nap. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, okay, during 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It will help you to energize your body, okay, in the daytime if you do not sleep well the night before. Okay, however, if it is a habitual or long-term not sleeping well at night, in the daytime, you cannot make up for all the previous lost sleep. Cannot. Okay? Yeah. So this is like a temporary. If it's 1 or 2 days you didn't sleep well, okay, the next day you can make up for it. Best is during this timing, okay, if possible. Yeah. Okay, sleep disturbance just in time because somebody said that they get defense sleeping. That's under sleep disturbance. Okay, so what kind of factors disturb you at night? So if you get bioenergetic defense sleeping, it could be that your surroundings are noisy. Sometimes your partner snores, okay, cars, sound, renovation, etc., etc., footsteps. So your surrounding is noisy, keeping you from sleeping. You can actually use this bioenergetic defense sleeping. So the defense here is to protect you from all kinds of forces when you're sleeping, including for those who believe the negative energies as well that is disturbing you. Okay, yeah, so this under defense. Okay, now you can be disturbed by geopathic stress. If you have not heard of the session on geopathic stress, which is the environment one, go back to the earlier sessions to watch that. I covered a lot about geopathic stress. It's actually the negative energy coming from the ground. Okay, now if you are sensitive to Wi-Fi, now this one I've heard people who tell me that, but at night I turn off my router. So depending on where you stay, for Singaporeans, we stay in HDB, okay, where you have hundreds of household. If you turn off your router, you are still disturbed by your upstairs neighbor, downstairs neighbor, and your sides. Okay, so so it's no use to just turn off your own home router. Okay, so in this case, what you can do is at night, before you sleep, you go to the Blue app, you look for bioenergetic defense, use resonance analysis to analyze it. Okay, the top 5 that appear, you just look for 9 hours. Okay, start the vibration and then you go to sleep. So the whole night, your field will be protected. So you can try this. Okay, if you have one Healy device, you can either try with the sleep program, 9 hours, analyze and then vibrate for 9 hours. You see whether that makes you sleep better or defense. So if you do defense the whole night, 9 hours, and you sleep better, that means your disturbance actually comes from any of these sources here. Okay, the Wi-Fi, the sound in your surrounding, etc., etc. Okay. Yeah. So if you have the MAGHEALY sleep program, MAGHEALY also has the electrosensitivity where you can just run atmosphere throughout the whole night to protect yourself, to protect your own space while you're sleeping so that you do not get this kind of disturbance. Okay, now sometimes people have to wake up a few times at night, frequent urination, night urination. Okay, so then after that, they cannot fall back asleep. Or if you find that you keep waking up between 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., so this might be a hint of the liver, because this is the time when the liver is active with its detoxification work, all right, that you might actually feel the discomfort and then you suddenly just get up. Okay, so this is actually hinting to you your liver needs more support. Okay, so for women who goes through menopause, you'll find that you sweat, night sweating and all that, and that prevents you from a good sleep. Okay, so how do you solve this? For menopause, you can use hormonal balance. Okay, hormonal balance. For frequent night urination, kidney. All right, so if you keep waking up between 1 to 3 a.m., you can use meridians. All right, but don't use meridians at night because meridians will move your energy and it keeps you awake. At least for me, I can't use meridian in the evening. So use in the daytime, all right? Use in the daytime to support all this. Now, if your 5 by 5 comes out meridian, and if you see liver, kidney, heart, these three, some says even lungs, any two of this four here that appears is actually indicative that the person do not have good sleep at night. Okay, I scan a lot of people. Usually if I see liver, kidney, or liver and heart, or kidney and heart, I ask them how's their sleep. They'll tell me they literally don't sleep at night. Okay, if they have three, it's even worse. Yeah. Okay, so you can actually support this three, liver, kidney, heart. If you want to, if yours appear lungs, then you can also support your lungs as well. Okay, all right, McHealy. So besides using the Healy resonance analysis 5 by 5, okay, I would suggest you also do the resonance analysis for McHealy. Yeah, the second one here, you only do classic and McMakin, classic McMakin, and then you see what comes out. Okay, so sometimes you may see sleep. Sometimes it may not be sleep. It can be brain. It can be thalamus. All right. So thalamus here is the region where the pineal gland is located, and then the SCN. Okay, remember the red dot and the yellow dot, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, pineal gland is all located here at the thalamus. Right. Those who cannot sleep because of trauma, okay, trauma, you will get nerves, emotions, vagus, or even thalamus, because the hippocampus amygdala is actually in the thalamus region, and then nerves, okay, trauma is actually hidden. It affects your nervous system. So vagus is for the relaxation. So you have anxiety, panic attack. So you cannot sleep. Okay. Yeah. So therefore, all these brain. Okay. So all these six here can actually be hinting to you what's the reason for not being able to sleep. Yeah. Okay. Then for classic, head will be all that, including the midbrain, etc. So here is the entire head. You can use cell. Cell is generic for your whole entire body sleep. Okay, so you can use this to support your sleep. Oh, I forgot this one. The vitality is also for sleep. Now, tiredness, you don't use tiredness at night because tiredness is not for sleep. Tiredness is you use it in the daytime. If you don't have good sleep, then you use tiredness in the day to keep you awake. All right. So if your analysis for classic also shows you tiredness, it also means that you're not sleeping well at night. Okay. Then under classic 2, earth here is to synchronize yourself to the environment. So you see the Schumann resonance. All right. So the earth actually synchronize your brain, your heart to your external environment. So it will actually help you in your daily rhythm, your circadian rhythm. Okay, so mood here will be your emotions, your midbrain over here for trauma. Yeah, for pressure, stress, you can use fearix is for pain. And then pain that prevents you from sleeping well. Okay, pressure will be all your stress. Yeah, okay. Okay, so somebody said, Alan said, after I started running kidney in McMakin every day at 5 a.m. ish and hardly get up to pee. Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. So kidney helps to strengthen your bladder so that you can hold uh, your bladder at night so that you don't have to get up. And then when to run vitality. Okay, 5 p.m. Okay, 5 p.m. Yeah. So anytime, any of these that you want to support at night, you can use after sunset. Yeah. Then vitality. Vitality, you run it in the day because it actually helps you to be awake. Yeah. So you use that in the daytime vitality. Okay, now Atmosphere, these are programs that you can run throughout the night. Okay, so when you try one program and it does not work for you, don't give up straight away. Don't say that, this things doesn't work for me. Okay, you have to try one by one to eliminate. Okay, you monitor, if I use this tonight, what happens the next day? Okay, the one that gives you the best improvement is the one that can fill the gap, okay, that actually support the system that needed that. The one that you use and it makes no difference, that's not what you're lacking. Okay, it's not that it's not working, it's not what your body needs. Okay, so because sleep has so many factors affecting it, so you have to eliminate, test one by one. Okay, now one thing is prosperity. So this lady, she could not sleep. She said, I tried all the sleep program in Healy and MAGHEALY. Any program that has the word sleep on it, she said, I have tried, but I still cannot sleep. And she said that one night, while I was so awake, I was flipping through the the menu, the programs. I flipped back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I couldn't sleep. Then I saw this one, S11. So I said, okay, I just like that symbol, S11. She said, I just turned on the prosperity, and you know what happens? Within 5 minutes, I fell asleep. Okay. Yeah. So you see, prosperity can help somebody fall asleep. Now, in prosperity, you'll find that it has brain waves. Okay, it has brain waves. So therefore, when because every program has a different combination of frequencies. So when she used the prosperity, so intuitively, so her intuition just guided her towards prosperity that night. And just because she said she liked the S11, she just used that. Okay, and that brain waves frequency, that group there matches with hers. She said within 5 minutes she just knock off. Yeah, so therefore try don't be afraid to try, and then have your journal and record so that you can go back to that later on and not forget. Okay, then if you do not like to use all that, okay, you can use water as well. Okay, so before you, in the evening, you can use like after stress kind of programs, sleep programs. Okay, this is also suitable for, let's say, pregnant women. Okay, where you cannot, or people who cannot use the device directly on the body, or you cannot wear all the cables to sleep because they get entangled. Yeah, so water. Okay, just water after dinner. This is your water, so you can just drink and then go to sleep. So it's very, very safe. Okay, safe for babies, for seniors, for pregnant women, and all that. Yeah. Okay. Now, other issues that affect sleep, for example, snoring. Okay, why do you snore? Is because here, the muscles around here, the tongue muscle, and then the palate muscles here relax, and therefore it collapse, and then it press and block your airways, therefore causing the person to snore. So you may get any of these programs as well. So sometimes when you see how come I have sleep issues, but sleep programs never appear. Then I get all these kind of weird programs. I get beauty, I get skin when you don't have skin problems and all that. So you'll be wondering why. Okay, now, so if it's the muscles, all right, you may actually use or you may get muscle, okay, fitness muscle. So it's actually toning your muscles so that the muscles does not relax too much, but hold it up. All right. Yeah. Then narrowing of the passage. So all this you can use muscle or you can use skin. Okay, polyps. You know, sometimes people have polyps or cysts, okay, or additional tissue growth inside, and skin may appear. Skin beauty may actually appear. All right, yeah. um Tonsils, so you may actually get tonsils, but there's nothing wrong with your tonsils. So it could be the tonsils blocking your airways, so therefore tonsils may just appear that particular day. Yeah. Or sinus, you can use McHealy sinus, which to clear your whole entire sinuses around here. Okay, then sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a bit dangerous because there are people who just suddenly stop breathing. Yeah, this is because uh, two reasons. Okay, we'll cover the first reason first, which is similar to snoring, where the tongue and the palate actually relaxes and then press against the airway. So obstructive sleep apnea is actually quite similar to snoring. Okay, yeah. So you can use muscles. Large intestine meridian is because the large intestine meridian actually come all the way up to here, around here, the sinus region. Okay, then throat chakra. So sometimes you get throat chakra because of the blockage around here. Then sinuses. Yeah, so you can use this to help. Now, the other one where people would just suddenly stop breathing, it is because of the respiratory center in the brain. So that's the reason, that could be one of the reason why that they get brain programs. Okay, they get crown chakra, although they have sleep issues, but they get crown chakra and all that. Okay, so it could be because of problems that exist here. In the brain, there is one particular area called the respiratory control center. It can actually momentarily stop sending signal to your breathing muscles. Okay, yeah, so that's why people will stop breathing, and then after that they choke and then they get up. Stroke, after stroke, okay, low oxygen levels, then medication on long-term opioid medication, so it can actually affect your brain, or they have neurological diseases like Parkinson, Alzheimer's, that is related to nerve. So there is either malfunction of the nerve in sending signals, or the brain cells that control this actually stop sending signals momentarily. Yeah, so they actually stop breathing. Okay, so you may get things like head. So because we do not know what happens in the head, but Healy can detect the imbalances and the disharmony in the head, brain, you know, when you get things like that. Nerve for all the neurological issues. So crown, third eye will be all the region around here. Okay, so you may not get exactly like sleep, but you can get all kinds of other programs, and it carry a certain meaning. So you trust your Healy that when you do your 5x5 Healy analysis or the McHealy analysis, that it will detect in your field where is the greatest imbalance and disharmony, it will tell you. Although we may not be able to understand what Healy is trying to tell us, okay, so it can detect. All right, so that's why we have sessions like this to help us see that sleep is not just, sleep alone, and why there are so many different sleep programs. They are all doing different things. They are all doing different work, okay, for different purpose. Okay, now, do you have, in addition to sleep, do you have any of these issues? Or maybe, okay, it started with insomnia and then after that you have all these issues. Or you started to have all these issues, a few of these issues first, and then later on your insomnia become more and more obvious. So they are interrelated, okay? For example, obesity. Yeah. So in the last session, I talked about fitness and so many asked about weight loss or fat loss. Okay. Now, obesity or gaining fat and all that could be actually due to a lack of sleep. So what happens during the lack of sleep is at night, your toxins, all this is not properly clean, right? So when your toxins are not removed, so a certain part of the brain, they cannot um, it affects the hormonal imbalance. Okay, what happened is if you don't get enough sleep, they found that your appetite suppressing hormone, okay, leptin, drop. So your appetite is not suppressed. And then the other one, ghrelin, GREHLIN, that actually cause you to feel full is not activated. So what happens is you don't feel full and your appetite is not stopped. So what happens is you start to binge. You always feel, hey, I want to eat, I want to eat. And the other one is it actually prevent your brain from actually making good decisions. For example, when you choose food, okay, you will start to choose snacks and food that are less healthy for you. Okay, so your decision-making process is also affected by the brain. Okay, so cancers, all right, the cancers, because why? It affect the immune system. It affect the production of your natural killer cells, which actually controls your cancer cells population in the body. So therefore, they are all tied together because of immune being affected. Okay, it affects your hormones that controls your fertility. Okay, for example, in the brain, it actually produce your follicle stimulating hormone, so it will affect your ovulation. Then it will also affect, let's say, testosterone production, all that. So fertility will be affected. Um, Depression is common, and you see that they are tied together. People who are depressed, they usually have insomnia. And people who have long-term insomnia, they will have depression because of the hippocampus and amygdala. Okay, these two regions here uh, are active during the REM sleep, REM. The REM sleep, they find that the hippocampus, the amygdala, the emotions portion, the part that stores and process emotions, is very active during REM sleep. That means they are doing a lot of healing work, and they help you to also, it's a very clever system. When I read the book, is that you will decide the good things that you want to remember, the good emotions, and then the bad things that you want to forget, you can actually forget them. Okay, so but when you don't sleep, things go haywire. They don't do a proper sorting of all these emotions, so everything is stuck there. So you're stuck in that emotions. Okay, so your amygdala and your hippocampus cannot work properly. But when you sleep, they actually do a lot of sorting work, and then it helps you in your emotional clarity. Amazing. It's very amazing. All right. Okay. Now, stroke, heart attack is because of what? When you are sleeping, remember the heart rate, breathing rate all goes down to a very, very basal rate, right? It slows down your breathing in during deep sleep. And that is the time when they repair your blood vessels. Okay, because other times your blood is pumping so hard and your blood vessels is like at work, and then the blood will just rush through. There's no time to repair injured or damaged blood vessels. So when you go into deep sleep, that's the time when they actually do the repair. Okay, yeah. So therefore, they are all related. Okay, so all these issues here are related. Chronic pain, diabetes, genes. It affects the turning on and off of genes as well. Okay, during sleep, all these things are being regulated. So pain is for regeneration. When you sleep, your body has time to allow the stem cells to regenerate, give you repair work and all that. Okay, so yeah. So if you have the issues that I mentioned, and when you do the analysis, a lot of the issues are not mentioned, but comes out a lot of sleep, 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 sleep. So that means your underlying issue is actually sleep. So that's why Healy wants you to sleep. For example, I have scanned one patient who has kidney failure, is already at the dialysis state. When we do the Healy, not a single kidney programs came out. Not a single kidney programs came out. And it came out fatigue, job fatigue, exhaustion, all that. It came out sleep, sleep, sleep. So many sleep, sleep, sleep program. So the person actually asked, I don't think your Healy is accurate. I have kidney failure, not a single kidney. So you see, we tend to think that you have kidney issues is because of the kidney. But Healy is so smart that it will tell you that your underlying issue is sleep. Because why? This person is a taxi driver. So taxi driver, when they do what? The night shift, so they actually drive from, let's say, 10 o'clock until the next morning when they do the night shift. So if you keep doing that, that means at night, you don't get that proper sleep. So you're sleeping in the daytime, which is out of sync with your external environment. Okay. So those who, because of work, let's say they are in the medical field, doctors, nurses, security in the night shift, drivers, they drive lorries, transportation. Yeah, so their body can actually be in a bad shape in the long run. Yeah, in the long run. Okay, but because of their service, so use the Healy, all the more use the Healy to support all the organs that is supposed to be doing the work at night. All right, okay, and try during your rest days to revert back to the normal sleeping hours. Okay, otherwise you will see this kind of issues that I show you just now popping up, appearing, then you'll find that, why is it that I use insulin, let's say diabetes, if you have used insulin, if you have used the pancreas and it's not working for you, whereas somebody with diabetes and when they use the program, they find that, okay, their blood sugar went back to normal and yours does not. That means that may not be your underlying issue. Yeah, so your underlying issue could be somewhere else. So if you sleep, maybe if you improve and go back, regulate to proper sleep, you'll find that your all these issues that you are dealing with may actually show improvement. All right. Okay. So for those who have children who are taking exams, students, okay. So as a teacher, teaching the A levels, I have a lot of students, many students, the day before the exams, they will study. They will cram and cram and cram. Okay. It's actually counterproductive. Okay. I will always advise my student, all this cramming, you do it way before the exam. Okay. But if tomorrow there is a paper, you're supposed to sleep like normal so that your brain can actually sort it out. So they have done the research. They compare, okay, memory. What happens if you study and then you go and sleep, or you study, you don't sleep, and then you go and take an exam the next day? They find that those who study and then go and sleep, the next day, when they do the test, their performance is so much better than those who cram and not sleep, then go and take the test. Okay, they have done that on the students. Okay, they have done that on sportsmen. Okay, athletics, sports, that means they do the training practice and then go and sleep. Okay, even pianists, you know, they practice. Okay, morning they practice, they go and sleep. The next day they practice again the song. They find that after sleep, their fingers become so smooth, not a single error. Okay, or not? Because why? They find that during sleep, right? During the sleep time, the brain will actually sort out. That means all the things that you put in the daytime, sleeping is the time where it actually sort everything out for you. And then the next day is actually better. Yeah. Okay. So it was so interesting. So because of this session, I went to read up a lot more about sleep. I bought a book on sleep and I read it and I find that wow, okay, sleep is so amazing. So I hope that all of you after this session will really take your sleep seriously. Okay. And yeah, and this way you will find that your health will improve. Instead of hugging your bolster or your teddy bear, we all hug our McHealy and our Healy to sleep. I do. I was like always hold my Healy at the belly and then I sleep. Okay. Yeah. So share with your friends. Okay. The benefits if they have needs. Yeah. So you can receive the frequencies either using the coil, using the electrodes. So the microcurrent electrodes is better because there's less leakage. Okay, but if you're sleeping, I don't think you should wear the electrodes and then get entangled. Okay, so when you're sleeping, you use the coil or you use this. Use the high wave because you don't have the straps that move around. So that will be safer for you. And high wave is good because it gives you the much deeper penetration into all your tissues, so you feel more of the effect. All right. Okay. Okay, so all the accessories, the devices here is meant to help many layers of your field, different layers of your field here. All right, so you see, because some of them are not suitable for people who have metals in the body, so therefore you have different other ways to actually use it. So for those who are running programs, just now I saw one who are running for somebody who is not with you, then you would use the blue app. Okay, blue app. Okay. Although we all love Healy and McHealy, we trust it 100% or even 200%. However, we still must be reminded, okay, it's a friendly reminder that Healy and McHealy devices, they are not intended to cure, treat, mitigate, diagnose, or prevent any disease or medical condition. So should you have any concern, please, you are strongly advised to seek professional advice, okay, or treatment or consultation with a medical professional. Okay, so do not take your health for granted. Okay, but we can use Healy and McHealy to complement, all right, to support the body in the meantime. All right, so I'm Christi Wong from Singapore. So I am a certified bioenergy profiling. So I use the Healy and McHealy devices to profile the bioenergy and help individuals and families with transformation. All right. So it allows us to know ourselves in a much deeper level. Okay. So it can help us in our career, our work, our personal life, our family life, marriage, your finances, all areas of your life. So we tuned, okay, the energetic field, okay, for all kinds of purpose. And for myself, okay, I learned about the Chinese meridian system since 2011. And my background before I joined the bio wellness profession, I was a biology educator. So therefore, in my talk, I will incorporate a little bit about biology so that we can better understand our body. Okay? Yeah. So in terms of wellness, I've joined the wellness education and training since 2012. So that's more than a decade ago. And I've used Healy and McHealy for over 3 years now. Okay, so in the process of grooming and training my team, I came out with this set of books, 5 books, now available in English, in Chinese, and we are translating it to German as well. So if you wish to learn the Healy in a very compact and detailed manner, very structured way, these 5 books are available. Now, for those who like to watch videos, so there are videos available for you, and use Healy, or you can go to Healypedia for the resources. Use Healy will teach you different ways, okay, that I've explored, experimented on how to use Healy. And Q&A as well. Okay, so for those, okay, let me pause here for a while. Okay,